Hey guys, it's Eric with Low VA Rates. Happy. Why am I happy? Well, one, life is good. It's Friday. Who's not happy on a Friday? I got my red shirt on. Before I forget, make sure you subscribe below. Down on the right of your screen, there's a red button that says subscribe. Specifically, you should be following us on YouTube, though you might be watching this video on who knows what social platform you're on these days. We try to be everywhere, but YouTube is where we host these videos. If you subscribe, you're gonna know every time a video goes live. Today, in addition to wearing red, and I challenge you to do the same thing, we love to remember our veterans every single Friday. We're gonna talk about three things, okay? Three things that you should know about VA loans in 2021. Three things to know. Three things to know. And of course, it changes from year to year. It is the wonderful year of 2021. Okay, that's what we're going to talk about today. So while there may not be any sweeping legal changes to the VA program this year from last year, like there has been in the past, there are some things we want you to look out for. From continuing COVID-19 restrictions and forbearance to continually lower interest rates, here are the top three things that you should know about VA loans in 2021. Let's go right into number one, COVID-19 lender restrictions. Put that here. I don't know about you guys. Please don't get political in your comments. Keep it clean. I'm sick and tired of COVID-19 for many reasons, but here we are still talking about it. COVID-19 restrictions. Lender restrictions, okay? The lender puts the restrictions on the program. VA does not have any specific COVID-19 restrictions when it comes to the VA loans. Now, lenders, we've had different things in place since a year ago, almost a year ago, in response to the coronavirus. Many of these requirements impacted you veterans and your VA loans. Minimum FICO score requirements that we were willing to accept or even, consider, they got stricter. And we've got videos from years and years ago talking about how we don't care what your FICO score is. That changed under COVID. It's getting looser, but it's still there. We do have some good news, however, that even if these minimums remain in place, they will keep going down until they're eventually gone. Now, low VA rates, for example, our goal is to hopefully go back to having no minimum credit scores for any VA mortgages at some point in 2021. However, we're not quite there yet because of outside forces that we have no control over. We will continue to decrease our FICO requirements when and as many times as possible, just like we did last year. For example, at the start of the pandemic in 2020, our minimum credit requirement, was none. There was no minimum credit requirement at the beginning of 2020. But as the pandemic hit, we put in, I'm going off of memory here, but I think at one point for purchases it was 680, for streamlines it was 640, and it was strict. But by the end of the year, we started having the ability to reduce that on both purchases and cash out refis and streamlines. And by the end of 2020, we were all the way down to a 580 score on our streamlines, and we were down to a 620 score on our purchases and cash outs. Good news though, in 2021, on streamlines, real early in the year, we got rid of our minimum FICO requirement of 580. You can now have any FICO score you want on an IRRRL or a streamline. Okay? So what does this mean if you want to go get a VA loan this year in 2021? Well, first thing you need to do is get your credit score or your FICO score up if it's below a 620 for a purchase or cash out. Okay? You don't need to worry about your FICO score necessarily for a streamline, though as we've taught you on all of our other videos, having a higher FICO score allows you to qualify for a much better interest rate. Second thing you should probably be doing as it pertains to COVID-19 restrictions, go over all your finances. Okay, these COVID-19 restrictions, you're going to want to be as financially sound and prepared as possible. Now here's the second thing that you need to know about mortgages, VA mortgages in 2021. Forbearance and financial support. Again, nobody was talking about, did I spell forbearance right? I think so. Forbearance or support. Nobody was talking about forbearance prior to COVID-19, so this is kind of an extension of the first bullet point above. They go hand in hand with COVID-19, okay? There's restrictions in place for your mortgage, well, there's also opportunities for you to receive some relief from the problems that have been created. As we talked about last year, the U.S. passed the CARES Act, which allowed for forbearance of your mortgage if you were facing financial difficulties due to the coronavirus pandemic. The CARES Act allowed for 6 months of forbearance with the option to extend another 6 months, which means the forbearance can still be applied through the first part of 2021. However, it also means that forbearance support will be ending soon for a lot of borrowers in 2021. Okay? Meaning all those mortgage payments, all that past due is going to be coming due. Now, of course, I don't know what future legislation and laws are going to pass where we're talking about the third and fourth and fifth COVID bailouts. Certainly there's going to be something there for homeowners that are struggling. I just don't know that right now while we're talking. Now, because many Americans are still suffering from the financial impact of the pandemic, Congress is continuing to try and help out, but that's no easy task. If you've turned the news on in the last 2 or 3 months, you know how difficult passing different packages and laws can be. I'm going to leave it at that. So there is a good chance new packages will be coming. We just don't know yet. So what does this mean for you? Well, it's hard to say exactly what the relief's going to look like or when it's going to become available, but we still have hope for those of you that are struggling. If your forbearance is coming to an end, just like in times prior to COVID-19, always reach out to the lender or servicer on your loan. Now, we've got a video about lenders and servicers. If your lender and your servicer is the same, reach out to them. If your servicer is different than the person who did your loan, if you're struggling to make payments, please reach out to the servicer. That's the person you're making payments to every single month. They may be able to provide you assistance that is completely outside of this new stimulus package that hasn't even arrived yet. Lenders want to work with you. Now, when it comes to our veterans, my opinion, my experience, they want to work with you even more, so they're willing to go the extra mile for our veterans. Reach out to them, even if your forbearance period is up. Here's the third thing, and in my opinion, the most exciting thing about 2021, especially early in the year, depends when you're watching this video, low, I'm putting in big letters, low rates. Guys, rates, because of COVID, this all comes back to COVID, we're still dealing with it. Because of COVID, the pandemic has had lots of negative impact on the world, lots of it. One of the positive things that the COVID, sickness or whatever has brought to the market, extremely low interest rates, and they're still here. In 2020, rates dropped all the way through the floor. I'm talking lower than I've seen it in 20 years of doing mortgages. We're still down there. We're starting to bounce up a little bit, and then we come down. But these low rates, they are predicted to continue through most of 2021 with Fannie Mae. You guys have heard of them before, right? Predicting that they'll remain somewhere in the high 2% range. Now, look, I'm not quoting rates. I got to be super careful with compliance stuff here online. I'm not quoting rates, but we do have, if you call us and give us some information and talk to a licensed loan officer, we've got rates in the 1.75 30-year fixed range. I've got to put an APR up here. We've got videos on what APR means. It just means to get the 1.75 rate, you're going to have to meet certain requirements and pay certain closing costs. Let's just say, to be safe, the APR is somewhere around 2 or a little bit lower. You can go research why the rate and the APR are different another time. I just had to get that smack, for lack of better terms, today. I'm going live, I'm going raw. I got to get that smack out of the way. But listen, if you want these super, super low rates, even Fannie Mae and the MBA, that's the Mortgage Bankers Association, and myself included, and I'm an optimist, I'm an eternal optimist, I don't see, nor does anybody else that I know of, see interest rates staying this low all the way through 2021. So take advantage now, even though a rate in the 2.25 or 2.5 or 2.75 range, which is what it's predicted to stay below the high 2s all the way through 2021, that's still amazing, okay? So for starters, you can start saving money on your monthly payment simply by doing a streamlined refinance. We've talked about that a ton. Lower your rate, lower your payment. This is especially true if you've got a VA loan right now. You've got to have a VA loan right now to do an IRRRL or a streamline. But if you're watching and you don't have one right now, you've got another type of loan, your interest rates are still super low, okay? Even if you refinanced in 2020, we had people at the onset of the pandemic, March, April, May, June, refinancing from the 4s to the low 3s or high 2s. As we've mentioned in other videos, as long as you've made 6 mortgage payments on your VA loan and you've waited 210 days since you made that very first payment, you can refinance again. And a lot of people are doing it, okay? In 2020, the VA gave approval for IRRRLs even if you were in forbearance, which could help you avoid that need to make a large lump sum payment or some other workout with your lender. So if you're in forbearance right now, your forbearance, timeline is coming to an end. If you're back to receiving an income and you call up low VA rates, we don't care what your credit score is right now, on a streamline or an IRRRL, we don't care. When I say we don't care, that sounds unloving. We obviously care, but we're not going to hold it against you. If you're in forbearance, if you know you can start making payments because you're about to go back to work, we can work with you and get you out of forbearance through the new refinance. VA is allowing that still in 2021. So, global pandemic's still here. There's a lot of uncertainty into the future. I've got hope. I'm going to throw my own personal beliefs in there real quick that regardless of who you support politically or what you think's going on, if you're a masker or an anti-masker or whatever, I don't care. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. My personal opinion is it's going to get better, okay? Fingers crossed. It's got to get better. And with that, I'm hoping interest rates stay low all year. You're going to continue to have financial support from our government if you need it. Don't take it if you don't need it. The VA loan program is amazing, always has been. It is a big benefit to you in 2021, so take advantage. Call us if you want a loan or a lower rate or if you just need some information. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.